Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Everybody, I wanted to show you my hat. This is my hat. I have several Gnome Decks hats. I got one with the propeller, and I'll wear that in one of the videos I do once I get doing them at home. I'm going to take this off now. And I want just to share with you, this is my PDA. People ask me, what do I do when it gets all messed up? Like this one, I got all my notes, they're all done. All I do is and I pre-did some of this, I just move everything over and just leave the ones that are incomplete. And then I move my stickies over. So now I have a new PDA and it's all clean. So we're going to talk about budgets. I asked people what they used. Some of them said they do it very simply on an iPhone, which is good. There's several apps out there. It's all up to you what you want to use. Some folks said they did them on an iPad, which is good too. I don't think there's a wrong place to do a budget. The main thing is to do a budget and live by a budget. And someone said I needed to go to the Apple Store and buy a new computer. So I did, but all they give me was an Apple. So I'm not quite sure how this will work, but I'll give that a shot later. So here, I'm going to get my computer. It's not an Apple, but it is a computer. And I got some notes on there, kind of like a cheat sheet. Nah, I don't need that. Okay, now people have been asking me about budgeting. And yeah, you can virtually use any of the machines or any of the software that's available. Being one that likes Excel a lot, I use that a lot. Some people use the iPhone, some use an iPad, some use a computer, some use other. Some people use a laptop. But I have what I call budget in the box. And I'm going to ask my budget expert to come join me. And this is going to surprise you all, but this is what you use to really do a budget that'll really help you. And I have to admit, I went to school to learn to be an accountant, but Judy really taught me this, and it really worked great for us, and so she's going to help me explain it. The only thing you really need is some envelopes, maybe some index cards to make notes on. And what you want to do, the first thing you want to do if you're married, you want to make both you and your spouse agree that you're going to work on a budget. Then you need to know the difference between your needs and your wants. And that's tough, especially for us guys. Yes, and I bought, no one's asked, but I did buy new batteries, and so I got a brighter shirt on today. The first thing you want to do is you first got to determine how you're getting paid and what kind of income you have. Some people get paid weekly, some people bi-weekly, some people twice a month, etc. So you have to know what your income is. And unfortunately, we're not all like the government. We can't spend more than we have come in. So the first thing you want to do in a budget process is pay yourself first. If you have the availability of a 401k at work and they do any kind of a match, you max out your 401k so you at least get that back. Now, because of things that have been happening in the economy, some of the companies have gone away from the matches and have reduced them. But if you're still active in those, keep your money going in there. The other things, you want to start a Roth IRA. You can put your money away every year, and when you retire, and it's not as far as you think, you could take that out tax-free. So now what we do, I'm going to have Judy tell you kind of what we do. We just, why don't you take a few of these and just tell them how you... I used to get paid twice a month. So our budget was based on the 1st and the 15th of the month.
Okay.
Tell them kind of what we did.
First, we had to determine what bills were due when. And then, so we coincided with when he was paid, so they were paid ahead. You never want to pay, especially a credit card bill, behind, because you are charged horrible interest rates and you will never catch up. So we took the envelopes and we said, this was like house payment, our electric and our water, because our electric and water is separate, and so forth and so on. Clothing, if you have it, groceries. Guys, I still use cash for groceries. I don't charge it. I know what's in my envelope, and when it's gone, it's gone. So that's the secret to envelope budgeting, is making an envelope for it, putting the money in it, or determining what you're going to need for it. And if you're using cash, let's say you've just put so much away in an envelope, the secret is you don't take it out of the envelope to pay another bill. You don't take from Peter to pay Paul.
Right. We have 3 savings accounts we use in addition to the envelopes. We have our regular savings, then we have money we transfer into, similar to an escrow, if you're familiar with that. And that's where we put the money that, it's like our envelope for some of our bills, like our house payment or real estate taxes. Some of the things you'll want to consider when you're making a budget are your housing cost, or rent if you rent, your utilities. Now, a nice thing in utilities, at least back home, they have what they call budget billing. So we've been on budget billing almost since we've been married. And that way, we always knew every month what that bill was going to be. So that in the real cold months, our bill wasn't real high. Or in the real hot months when you used a lot of air conditioning, it stayed level through the whole year. And they analyze that every so often and adjust what you have to put in. Then consider, you got to remember your water. Solid waste now is a big thing. They charge for that. Real estate taxes, usually that, and your insurance is in your escrow and gets paid automatically. Things you don't want to forget, you want to survive. So you want food, clothing, medical insurance, include your copays. It's tough to guess these things, but try and budget them in there. Loans, that would include like student loans for you new graduates, car loans if you have those, money you borrowed from friends and or family that you want to pay back. Credit card, big thing. Make a commitment to pay off your debts. And the best way to do it, I'm going to have Judy explain to you how the best way is to attack paying off your credit cards and other bills.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of credit card companies out there that says, send us money and we'll help you pay this bill off, because they can negotiate. Well, that's correct. They can negotiate with credit card companies, but so can you. If you get a hold of someone and you talk to them and you just are insistent that you want to go up the line and I want to pay this bill off, but I can't pay this whole amount off, they many times will deal with you. So the best way to do it is start with your lowest credit card debt and pay that off. Then take that money that you were paying to that and you pay it on your next lowest one. So now you're probably paying double payments. And that when that's paid off, then you pay it on to the next one. When that's paid off, and so forth down the line.
Okay. Some of the things you'll want to consider too is like when you go to and from work, costs a lot of money. It's more and more every day with the gas prices going where they're going. You have to pay for parking. If you bring a lunch, that'd be great. We used to call it brown bagging. I'm not sure they still call it that or not. But that's the best way to have your lunch, because lunches themselves are getting expensive. And if you need to stop for that coffee in the morning, that can be expensive. Parking, especially like around here in the Seattle area, is a premium. So it must be a pretty tough thing to have to budget for with a family. The other things you want to remember when you do a budget, and you put amounts to all these, you do your best guess. Now you can track for a month or two to see where your money's going, then do your budget. But try and start with a budget, saying, yeah, my house payment's $500, my utilities $200, just so you have some benchmark to start from. Because a budget is a fluid thing. You have to adjust sometimes. But don't forget to pay yourself an allowance too. We have the savings. You want to maximize your savings right up front. Have automatic, if 401k is the best bet, but if you don't have that, do an automatic payment from your paycheck to your savings account.
Before you even get your paycheck.
Right. Have that done every single month.
You don't miss it if you don't see it.
Right. So, and then if you get an increase, let me say, when you get your increase, then increase that amount that goes into that savings, and don't use that money. Pay yourself an allowance. You sit down, both if you're married, both of you, or if you're by yourself, you sit down, and what you really need as an allowance, that would be to stop and get that cup of coffee. And the other thing you wanted, and this is where we used our envelopes. We used it for allowance, entertainment, like you're going to go to the movies, plan how many times you're going to go to a movie. That can get expensive, getting more and more expensive. I guess this Netflix and some of the other things around might be a better option. The other thing people forget is Christmas and other holidays. I mean, some people, Easter's big. Some people, Thanksgiving's big, Hanukkah, all the various holidays. Kwanzaa, all of them. You want to budget for those things so that you know ahead of time. You want to try and budget about a year out. And an important thing, in my opinion, and I think this is probably where the Europeans have over us Americans, is a vacation. Always plan a vacation. Always take a vacation. I would suggest no less than 2 weeks, but most of us, at least when I was working, we usually have to limit it to a week. Some of the things we mentioned are just very minimal, and it's not all inclusive. Some of the things we mentioned is just thought-provoking for the things you have to plan for that you're going to spend. Use the envelope system. It's very easy. Put all your entertainment money in one envelope, all your food money in another envelope, and you go into the store, you grab the food envelope. Okay. Then at the end of your budget period, you can look in those, and then anything left, you can either use it, like put all that extra into entertainment, or maybe a special night out with the family, or put it right back into savings.
And I want to, when I had said that I still use cash at the grocery store, I know a lot of you are probably going, you don't use a debit card, or you don't use an ATM card, or you don't use a credit card. No, I don't. Because, again, when I look in there and that envelope's empty, that's it. That's the end. I wait until our next pay period to get whatever it is we need. I buy a lot on sale things, too. But when you use one of those other types of cards, you spend indiscriminately. Oh yeah, wow, I want that, and the next thing you know, you really have used a lot of money on groceries that you probably wouldn't have bought if you had cash.
Yeah, the credit and the debit cards, in a way, are a good thing because you don't have to carry around a lot of cash. But if you use a credit card, pay it off every month. The other thing I would suggest, look out there and get a credit card that either gives you points for additional merchandise, or they give you a cash back. There's some pretty good deals out there, but the key is to pay the credit card off every single month. And if you really want to get out of debt, the first thing you want to do is cut up all those credit cards, because they'll get you in trouble. Worst case, only use one card.
And couponing.
And coupon. You want a coupon. My wife's used coupon. She's basically pretty much on the same budget now, 42 years later.
Yeah.
And we're still kind of have the same budget. Now, we've increased some of the things.
We had up the grocery budget.
We increased things like groceries and gas and utilities and those kinds of things. But the key is get on top of your spending. Get your spending under control. Some people say get yourself a little notepad. You've got to get a PDA like me, or use your iPhone or smartphone and list it as you spend it. So then you get an idea, well, geez, I'm spending, a bad one. And I used to be a smoker, and I know it's very, very hard to quit. And it's hard for a smoker to quit. But I'll tell you that it's so expensive that that's a tough thing to budget for. And then you can save a lot of money if you quit. But a lot of that's true. Don't drink 2 coffees every day. Cut it back to 1. So
I think we need to stop.
Okay, cool. So get your finances under control, and hopefully next time I see you, everybody's got it all whipped.
Someone said that they have a $25 a day budget and they're always under it. Awesome.
That's good. See, now that's a good way to approach it. A daily amount and stay within that. That's great. The key is to do it.